And of course, we need to know something about religion today. We need to know how it is easing and exacerbating global problems, and how the religious have engaged those of other faiths in both horrific and uplifting ways. Finally, we must acknowledge dystopian visions, gloomy predictions of how religion will prompt us to blow each other up, and utopian visions, or more optimistic accounts of how religion might be part of the solution to the problems we face today. Chapter 1. What Religion Is. If religion matters, then definitions of it do too. Definitions have practical implications and real-life effects. Consider, for example, law and politics. Many political constitutions include the word religion. The First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution states, "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion," and its second clause protects the free exercise of religion. Norway's 1814 Constitution, the second oldest after the U.S. document, also guarantees free exercise, but it establishes a particular faith, the Evangelical Lutheran Church, as the state religion. In pluralistic Singapore, where 4 in 10 residents are Buddhist, the Constitution says that every person has the right to profess and practice his religion and to propagate it. In spiritually diverse India, where Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, and Jainism originated, the Constitution guarantees freedom of conscience and free profession, practice, and propagation of religion. The Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms also appeals to conscience while safeguarding the freedom of conscience and religion. The Japanese Constitution also guarantees freedom of religion, and other political documents use similar language to protect freedom of worship, as in Brazil, or the practice of religion, as in Germany. It is not always clear, however, what counts as religion, or what qualifies as religious practice. There are debates, sometimes passionate ones, about how to define it. I noticed the public implications of definitional squabbles when I served as an expert witness in a legal case in which I was asked to define religion for a U.S. court. The case turned on a Florida defendant's use of African-inspired devotional practices that go back to West African techniques for curing illness, protecting people from harm, and divining the future. As the defendant was allegedly planning a crime, he visited a female conjurer, a ritual specialist, and placed cash and a Bible on the table between them, and then asked for advice. During the 1930s, the folklorist Zora Neale Hurston observed a similar ritual practiced by an African-American herb doctor, as she called him, in rural South Carolina. I knew that and testified about the history of these practices, and suggested they could be understood, using a common definition, as religion. The prosecution, and it turns out the judge, did not think they qualified as religious, and so held that what the defendant said to the conjurer was not a confidential clerical communication. I did not testify because I believed the defendant was innocent. I had no idea. I agreed because a constitutional principle was at stake, and I thought I might make a very small contribution to the public discourse about religion. I did not do much good, however, if the lawyer's comments during a break in my testimony were any indication. Before we returned to the courtroom, I overheard the attorneys for the prosecution reflecting on what I had said. "Can you believe this guy?" one blue suit asked the other in the hallway. "I know. That's religion?" his colleague asked, incredulously. Then they noticed me.